The blade kisses her forehead at the first light of dawn. No drugs, no mercy. Just a bronze knife, a priest-surgeon's steady hand, and the woman's own scream ripping across the Ganges as living skin is peeled away like wet and warm. Also, some man might finally look at her like she's worth keeping alive. Welcome to the real history of beauty. If you love hidden history and forbidden stories, smash subscribe right now and let's dive in. Because what I'm about to show you will crawl under your skin and live there forever. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from right now? 3,000 years before the first Instagram filter, before fillers, before just a quick little procedure, people were already carving themselves into gods and monsters. For one reason above all others: to be wanted, to be chosen, to feel that electric eyes slide over altered flesh and hear the silent words, "You, I pick you." Let's begin where the sun first rose on vanity, ancient Egypt. The Nile is lazy, golden, crocodile calm. Inside reed-roofed houses, men and women stare into polished bronze mirrors and see flaws that feel like curses. A nose broken in a chariot crash, a jaw shattered by a jealous rival. That wasn't just ugly, it was unholy. Symmetry was divine. So they fixed it. With wooden splints jammed so deep into the nostrils the patient gagged on blood and linen. With honey and fat poultices that smelled like death when infection set in. No anesthesia, just cheap date wine and a leather strap to bite until teeth cracked. Cold sweat poured off them in sheets while the surgeon reset bone with bare, calloused fingers. Crack. Crunch. A wet pop that echoed in the skull forever. But here's what almost nobody knows. Elite courtesans in Thebes weren't just repairing damage, they were upgrading. Deep in dusty archives, medical papyri describe women tattooing the soft skin of their inner thighs with blue lotus flowers and tiny raised scar dots that caught torchlight when silk slipped aside in perfumed bedrooms. Bone needles, soot and malachite ink. One deliberate stab every heartbeat for 8 straight hours. Some passed out from pain and were slapped awake, because the pattern had to be perfect. Because those scars whispered sex in a language only lovers understood. Infection? 50-50, you rotted from the inside out. Worth it? They thought so. Now cross burning deserts to ancient India, where beauty could literally be cut off your face as punishment. Steal rice. Love the wrong man. Whisper treason. The executioner's knife took your nose in one clean slice. Suddenly you're a monster no one will marry, no one will touch. Enter Sushruta, 600 BC, writing like it's nothing. The world's first recorded plastic surgeon. His masterpiece, the forehead flap. They mark a perfect leaf of living skin on your brow, still attached by a thin, pulsing bridge, slice 3 sides free, twist it downward like a bloody hinge, and stitch it where your nose used to be. Catgut thread, iron needles, turmeric paste for antiseptic. Because prayers were free, antibiotics weren't invented for another 2,500 years. You're awake the whole time, feeling every tug, every prick, every drip of blood running into your screaming mouth. Cold sweat doesn't even begin to describe it. Patients vomited, convulsed, begged Shiva to take them early. But the graft took, and suddenly she's beautiful again. Suddenly princes look at her like she's whole. Suddenly the mirror stops lying. But here's the twist that still gives historians nightmares. Royal women who already had perfect noses were secretly booking the same surgery. Just smaller, subtler, tilting the tip upward into the celestial arch that drove suitors insane with lust in candlelit palaces. Vanity rhinoplasty, 2,600 years ago. Let that sink all the way in. Now glide west to Rome. Marble halls, spilled wine, and orgies lit by flickering oil lamps. Scars were for slaves and soldiers. If you wanted to climb into a senator's bed, your skin had to be flawless porcelain. So they invented scar revision before Christ was born. Celsus, the Roman medical rock star, wrote the playbook. Excise the keloid, undermine the edges, pull tight, suture with silk so fine it travelled the Silk Road on pain of death. Sounds almost modern. Until you remember the bronze scalpel dulled after 3 cuts. The only sterilisation was vinegar, and the patient was strapped to a table screaming, while the surgeon sawed away scar tissue layer by raw layer. Cold sweat soaked the linen, some bit through their own lips to stay conscious. Gladiators paid extra for pectoral etching. literally carving shallow trenches into chest muscle so abs popped under arena torches. Because the crowd and the noble women in the shaded boxes went feral for definition. But here's what almost nobody knows. Roman men were secretly reversing circumcisions. Greek culture ruled the gymnasia. An intact foreskin looked fertile, civilized, sexually powerful. So Jewish converts, captured slaves, even ambitious freedmen begged underground doctors to pull remaining shaft skin forward, stitch it into a fake foreskin, then stretch it daily with lead weights for months. Agonizing, swollen, risk of tearing and permanent deformity. Also, they could strip naked in the baths without shame, and maybe catch a rich widow's lingering stare. Forbidden, filthy, irresistible. Drop south now, deep into the emerald fever dream of the Maya jungle. Beauty here was alien and loud. Elite babies had their soft skulls squeezed between cedar boards from the first week of life, slowly, relentlessly, until the head stretched backward into a perfect elongated cone. Why? Because the maze god had that skull. And the maze god got all the lovers. Crossed eyes. Irresistible. Mothers dangled obsidian beads between infant eyes until the muscles locked permanently wall-eyed. Sexy, supernatural, divine. Teeth? Filed to vampire points with sandstone and water, then drilled with bow drills for jade and pyrite inlays that flashed green and gold when they smiled across torchlit ball courts. Imagine the sound. Stone shrieking on enamel, blood flooding the mouth, the child or adult chewing coca leaves until their heart hammered like war drums just to stay conscious. Archaeologists have found skulls with trephine holes where infection ate straight into the brain, yet the jade inlays stayed mirror-polished. They died beautiful, but here's the darkest twist of all. Recent digs uncovered female skeletons whose dental gems were arranged in tiny heart shapes. Secret love notes carved into living teeth for one specific warrior watching from the sidelines. He never noticed. She died in childbirth at 19, still smiling turquoise hearts no one ever read. East again, ancient China, porcelain skin glowing like moonlit jade. The bigger the earlobe, the wiser, sexier, richer you looked. From 4000 BC they pierced with heated bronze awls. No warning, one brutal thrust. Then inserted ever heavier jade plugs until lobes swung to the shoulder, thin and translucent as moth wings. Foot binding began as an erotic court whisper. Tang dynasty dancers with 3-inch golden lotuses that made men lose their minds. By song it was law. 10-year-old girls had toes snapped like dry twigs, folded under, bound so tight flesh rotted while they learned to walk again on nubs. Pain never ever stopped. Yet mothers wept while doing it, because without lotus feet their daughters would never marry above starvation. And here's the final gut punch almost nobody knows. In the Forbidden Palace, eunuchs, men already castrated for imperial service, paid black market surgeons to implant weighted silken mercury dragon pearls into the empty scrotum. Heavy, toxic, excruciating, just so concubines might choose them for secret nights when the emperor was drunk or away. Some died, drooling liquid silver, mad with poison. Others finally felt desired again, worth the slow death. Let's keep going, because we're not done bleeding yet. Ancient Persia, eye enhancement before mascara was a dream. Kohl wasn't just makeup. Elite mixtures contained belladonna and caustic salts that burned the lid margins until eyes watered glossy and huge. Bedroom eyes created by chemical torture. The sting lasted hours, vision blurred, cold sweat beaded on painted brows, but the look was lethal. In Nubia and ancient Ethiopia, lip plates began as small clay discs, swapped for larger every few months until the lower lip hung in a perfect plate-sized loop. Each increase split the lip wider, blood crusting in the desert wind. Yet warriors boasted the biggest plates attracted the most beautiful wives across campfires. Back in Greece, men slept with leather nose braids, tight straps designed to pull cartilage straighter overnight. Socrates reportedly mocked them, then secretly wore one. Even prehistoric Europe, Otzi the Iceman, 5,300 years old, had 61 tattoos made with soot rubbed into razor cuts. Placement: lower back, ankles, knees, exactly where modern women get tramp stamps and sexy ink. Some things never change, So let's bring it full circle. From the banks of the Nile to the Forbidden City, from obsidian teeth in Maya temples to mercury balls in eunuch palaces, humans have sliced, stretched, broken, poisoned, burned, and bound themselves for one primal reason: to ignite desire in another human being, to hear the unspoken yes in a lover's eyes, to be wanted so badly someone would kill for them, or die trying. We tell ourselves we're civilized now, we have lidocaine, we have silicone, we have minimally invasive. But scroll any feed tonight and tell me the knife doesn't still sing the same ancient song. Cold sweat on their skin, cold sweat on ours. The lighting is just better. How far would you go to be desired? How much pain is one electric stare worth? Drop your answer below, because the ghosts of those forehead flaps, those bound lotus feet, those filed jade smiles, they're reading every word. Sleep with the lights on, beautiful.